Guys, welcome back to the Tutoring Hub. It has been a minute since we have uploaded a video, but no worries, we're here. So today we'll be talking about the point slope form. So if you're interested in learning about this concept, then keep on watching. Now, the point slope form is just one of those several formulas that you will come across, especially when dealing with coordinate geometry, dealing with your graphs, dealing with slope, and so forth. So, before you can use the point slope form, there's few things that you'll need to know. You need to be able to identify and state the point slope form. And the point slope form is just the equation of the line, which is y equals mx plus b. So the m represents the slope, particular graph or line, and the b, or sometimes you'll see a c, represents the y-intercept. Now, before we go into the meat of the matter, let's go ahead and do a little recap of what the slope is and what the y-intercept is as well. So here we have a linear graph, and we can see that this graph is passing. So we know that the vertical line is called our y-axis, and our horizontal line is called our x-axis. Now, as we say, y-intercept. Now that is the point where the graph passes the y-axis. So we can see that this linear graph is passing the y-axis at 3. So the b would be equal to 3. Or we can say that the y-intercept is, so on the x-axis it would be 0, and the y value would be 3. So y-intercept is always 0 followed by the number, and that number is where the graph passes the y-axis. Now the slope is rise over run, so the number of units that we have to rise from one point to the next, or we can say that m is equal to the difference in our y values all over the difference in our x values. Now so for us to identify what the slope is, we must pick 2 points on the graph. So we can see that the graph is passing through this point right here. And again, this is 0, 3. We can also see that it is passing through this point right here. So this is -1, -1. Now I can use these two coordinates, put it into the formula to find the slope, or I can simply just count the number of units that I rise. So m is equal to, so I jump 1 unit, 2, 3, 4 units up. So that's our numerator, that's the number that we rise. And then we jump 1 unit across. So it'll be 4 over 1 or 4. So our slope is 4, our y-intercept is b. So we can write this in the slope-intercept form. So it will be y is equal to 4x plus 3. And it's a positive 4 because it's going uphill, which means that our slope is positive. So let's look at our second recap example. So we have a different graph, and we realize that this one looks different from the previous one. It's going downhill, right? So we're going down. We're looking at the graph from left to right. So this automatically tells us that our graph will be negative. So it's a negative slope. So I'm just going to put a negative sign right there, and I'm going to go ahead and find the slope. So we pick 2 points on the graph, and it's easier when you pick 2 points that both the x and the y are intersecting, right? So this is a point on the graph where both axes are intersecting, so that's the two easiest points to use. Right? Cannot use right here because it's not intersecting. 2 lines are not intersecting. Right? So this point right here where the line or the graph passes the y axis, we already established that this will be our y-intercept. It has a coordinate of 0. It's always 0 followed by the number, which is -1. Again, this is your y-intercept. And where the graph passes the x-axis, can you guess what that is called? If you guess x-intercept, you are correct. So at -3, 0, where the graph passes the x-axis, we call that our x-intercept. Good. So again, it's going downhill, so it's negative, and we are going to just count our rise. So we have to move 1 unit up, so that's our numerator. And we have to move 1, 2, 3 units across, so that's our denominator. So our slope will be -1/3. So now that we have found our slope, and we know what our y-intercept is, we're going to put it into our formula, which is y equals mx plus b. So I write back our y, our slope is -1/3, write our x, we're going to write the plus -1, sorry. And we know that when we have two different signs next to each other, they will combine to give us a minus. So our slope intercept form would be y equals -1/3x minus 1. So that is how we find the slope using rise over run. We can also use the formula. We'll talk about that in a few minutes. And also how to find the slope intercept form. So now that we know how to find, right, identify the y-intercept and also how to find the slope from a graph, let's go ahead and go into the meat of the matter, which is the point slope form. Now, just as how the slope intercept form has a formula, the point slope form has a formula, and this is y minus y1 is equal to m times x minus x1, where m is the slope and the x1 and the y1 is just a given point. So as the name suggests, point. So when you're given a point and you're given the slope, then automatically should use the point slope form to get the equation of the line or to get it into standard form. So let's look at our first example. So we are told that the m, which is our slope, is -1/3, and we're given a point, -1, -6. So a point or coordinate ordered pair always starts with x followed by y. So with that said, we can identify this, the -1 as our x1, the -6 as our y1. So we're going to go ahead and put that into the point slope form again. It is y minus y1 is equal to m parentheses x minus x1. So we're going to replace the m, the x1, and the y1, and that will get it into the point slope form. So our answer would be, so y minus -6, which is our y, is equal to -1/3 times x minus -1. And as you can see, we have two signs next to each other, so we're going to go ahead and simplify those signs. So two negatives always combine to give you a plus. This is going to combine to give you a plus. So our final answer will be y plus 6 is equal to -1/3 times x plus 1. There we have it. We have just written the equation in point slope form. Now let's look at our second example. So we're given a graph. One of the points is identified. The point is 2, 2. And they also identified the y-intercept for you, which in this case will be 0, 3. So we're given 2 points and we're asked to write it into point slope form. So we need the slope and we need the point. So the point is 2, 2, that's what we're going to use. And let's count how many times we have to rise. So we have to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So our slope will be 5/3. 1, 2. 5 over 2, and it's going uphill, so it's going to be a positive slope. So m is positive 5 over 2, and we're using the point 2, 2. So now we're going to plug them into our point slope form, and our point slope form again is that right there, and we'll end up with y minus 2 is equal to 5 over 2 parentheses x minus 2. And that's it. Now let's look at our third example. It says write the point slope form for the equation of the line through the point negative 2, 5 with a slope of 3. So negative 2 will be our x1, 5 will be our y1, and our m, which is our slope, will be 3. So let's go ahead and just type that into the formula. So y minus y1 is 5 is equal to our slope, which is 3, parentheses x minus negative 2. Now, a very common mistake is for students to just write one negative sign and to get it incorrect. But please remember, negative, we always write those negatives in the formula. So it's minus, then we write what the x or the y value is, right? So it's minus negative 2. And just like the previous example, two negatives combine to give us a plus. So we can rewrite that as y minus 5 is equal to 3 parentheses x plus 2. And that is our answer. So we just wrote this problem into the point slope form. Our final example for this video is this one right here. It says given 2 points, write the equation of a line in point slope form. From the recap section, I did state the formula to find the slope. So we're not given a graph, we're not given just 1 point, we are given 2 points. So we don't know what the slope is, so we need to find the slope, and that is where the slope formula comes in. So we cannot use rise over run here, we must use m equals to y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. Now, our first point, the 2 will be our x1, the negative 3 will be our y1, and then the 4 would be our x2. This is just saying that our second x value. So the 2 was our first x value, now the 4 is our second x value, the negative 3 was our first y value, and now the negative 2 will be our second y value. So now that we have identified what x1, y1, x2, y2 are, we're going to simply go ahead and put it into the formula, which will have negative y2, so negative 2, write your minus sign, so don't forget to write your minus sign, minus negative 3, all over 4 minus 2. And we do some simplifying, so these two negative signs combine to give you a plus, so we have negative 2 plus 3, which is 1, positive 1, and 2 minus, 4 minus 2, which gives you positive 2. So the slope is equal to a half. Now the second thing, now that we have our slope, so m is equal to a half, and we have a point, we have more than 1 point, we're going to pick one of the points and need the slope and write it into the point slope form. So the point slope form again is y minus y1 equals m x minus x1. And for this example, this one was used, so we use the first point. So we replace our m with our half, and we replace the y1 with the negative 3, and the x1 with our 2, simplify these two signs, and we end up with our final answer, which is y plus 3 is equal to a half x minus 2. And that is it. Now let me also point out that we can write this point slope form into slope intercept form by doing some distribution and so forth, and we'll do that in our next video. Now thank you so much for watching. I hope that this video was helpful, and that at the end from these 4 examples you are now able to write the point slope form given points and the slope are given 2 points. So stay tuned for more videos. Have a great day.